This episode of The Wyatt Sharp Show is proudly brought to you by the team at Texture Communications, your go-to firm for all things public relations and strategic communications. For more information, visit them at yourtexture.com or check the link in the description. Welcome back. I am joined now by Bret Baier. He is the chief political anchor at the Fox News Channel, as well as the anchor and executive editor of Special Report with Bret Baier, airing weeknights at 6 p.m. on the Fox News Channel. Bret, thanks so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
So perhaps let's just start out with Kamala Harris. She obviously has arguably the shortest amount of time in American history to actually convince the average American voter that she should be the president, just given the nature of what happened. Obviously, she did the highly anticipated interview with Dana Bash and CNN just a short while ago now, and that was meant to kind of quell some of the rumors that were, some of the concerns rather, that were out there, and obviously she had Tim Walz with her. Do you think the interview did enough to kind of put to bed some of the concerns that people were raising about her policies, for example? I mean, you're hearing that a lot, that she's not talking about her policies.
I don't think so. She dealt with some questions, and Dana pressed her on a couple of the issues that she talked about in 2019 as a presidential candidate, and she has different positions now. But I'm not sure it cleared up a lot. She said that she had the same values on those issues, but that perhaps they changed. And I think there will be more for the Trump campaign to mine there. And really the biggest thing that's going to happen now until, October is the debate on September 10th. And that will be a consequential moment for both campaigns. We are looking right now at a very tight race, maybe one where the former president might have a little advantage in the Electoral College, and the vice president has a little bit of advantage in the popular vote.
And let me just pick up on that as well, because there's a lot of concern, I guess, about the base, perhaps not as much as there has been in previous elections. But if we look to 2016, there was obviously a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters who were kind of alienated by what happened, and then they voted for Jill Stein in the general election. Obviously, it's a very different landscape now, but is there any concern amongst Democrats you're talking to where perhaps people who were, hardcore Biden supporters are frustrated with, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, and as a result are less likely or less enthusiastic to vote for someone like a Kamala Harris, or is that kind of a made-up problem?
I think that's a really small universe of voters, and that most of the Biden voters who may have not liked the process of how he was kind of pushed out still like the fact that it's the ticket, the Biden-Harris ticket. It is Vice President Harris who is taking the mantle now, and I think that concern is probably not a big one.
And you mentioned the presidential debate in one of your answers. Obviously, you've moderated debates yourself before. CNN did a relatively good job, of course, with theirs. And, I've interviewed someone like Alan Lichtman before. He often talks about how he believes debates don't matter. But then I was talking to him afterwards, and he was like, well, I was clearly wrong in this instance, because that was kind of what led Joe Biden to ultimately step down as the Democratic nominee. Fox News was one of the networks to put in a request for a debate as well. Now it's going to be another network. But I guess I'm just curious, in the form of ABC on September 10th, what do you think each candidate kind of has to prove in order to walk away claiming victory after that debate?
Yeah, we're still hopeful, actually, that we might be able to be considered for the October debate. There was an agreement that there would be one in September and one in October. So hope springs eternal for us to moderate that debate. Yes, we had one that the former president agreed to on September 4th, actually today, and the Harris campaign never agreed. So ABC will be September 10th. What each candidate has to do, I think if you talk to both sides, experts on both sides, they would say the former president has to be reserved, appear presidential, not go over his skis on attacks against Vice President Harris, and color within the lines. Stick to policy and keep coming back to the things that they think work about the economy, about inflation, and about border security. For Vice President Harris, she probably needs to try to get under his skin, and needs to make a contrast between how he deals with things and how she deals with things, and probably come back to abortion as an issue, and and maybe talk about his wish to relitigate the 2020 election. I think noticeably in recent weeks, really recent days, former President Trump has said, I lost that election. And I lost it just by a little bit, by a whisker, he said a number of times. Those are things he hasn't said before. So I think he's preparing to deal with that moment on the debate stage.